In this episode, we're going to talk about the biggest BS that you have ever heard. And no, this isn't about what the news tells you or the political stuff. This isn't even about what's happened in the past. This actually happens each and every moment that we're living into. So if you want to know how to stop the BS, stay tuned. I'm Adam Kiddoo, and it's time to master the art of real heart alignment, where you live, work, and play from your personal power as energy aligns, your gifts flow, and life simply works. These life-changing conversations are designed to help you to see what you're not seeing, hear what you're not hearing, and to be who you're not being, as the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. Are you ready to say no to living a half-hearted life and say yes instead to boldly living from a place of real heart alignment? Welcome to the Adam Kiddoo podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Adam Kiddoo podcast. Now, I think I always say this is going to be a fun episode ahead, because if there is one place for you to focus in order to have a radical, and I'm talking radical change in your life, it's the BS going on each and every moment, each and every day between your ears. Now, in this conversation, I'm actually going to give you some tactical things on how I'm able to quiet my mind so that way I can get the chatter out of the way. I can let go of the monkeys in the trees that are making all the noise and being distracting. And I can get a sense for what my heart wants, what's on my heart, what I want to share with people, so that way I can connect deeper. The words just come from somewhere, right? It's almost like there's a higher energy working through me at times. There's a higher energy working through you at times. But with the chatter, noise, you often can't get a sense of your heart, of your personal power, and of your essence. So in this episode, we're going to have a deeper conversation about your thoughts. And I would say probably a year and a half ago, I had this aha moment. This lightning rod hit me. And I told myself in that moment, all thoughts are bullshit. And it really, really connected with me, because, there's so much noise going inside our minds each and every day. And 99% of it is from the past. Right? It's lessons and things that we believe, and stories and doubts and insecurities that happened in the past. Because what's funny is, even if we're thinking about the future and the fear of the future, we're still pulling from the past. We're still pulling from our experiences and our lessons and our baggage and our trauma from the past, and projecting that into the future. That's why we call it sometimes a predetermined future. We're on autopilot a lot of the times. But when you can get to a standpoint to where you begin to be more silent in your mind, that's when the world stops. That's when the automation, the robot, if you will, the programming that's been there since we were born. I mean, studies even show from basically 0 to 8 years old, we're like a walking, starting to talking tape recorders. We literally consume everything. And it's wild because, I've got a 20-month-old son at this time, and he literally, his awareness, he is taking in everything. He will hear a truck from 3-4 blocks away that's not even really in my awareness, because we've kind of learned to filter our data coming in a little bit more, our input. We learned to filter that. But he'll stop and he'll even say truck sometimes, and he'll hear a dog. We're inside the house hanging out, and he'll hear a dog blocks away, right? And he'll stop and it'll catch his attention, because his awareness is so expansive. He is taking in everything. He doesn't have all the blocks and all the resistance that we do. He doesn't have the filters, the stories, the beliefs, the experiences that we do. He is a walking, talking sponge. He is a walking, talking tape recorder. And so I take it very, very, very I take it to heart that anything I say to him could influence him. And I take it, I take that responsibility with with everything I have. Because any little instant, I could implant a belief, a story that could disempower him the rest of his life until he realizes it and does something about it. But here's the thing. I read the book, The Power of Now, probably 6-7 years ago. I started meditating probably 8-10 years ago, somewhere in there. And I was very, very, very diligent with my meditation. I mean, I was meditating daily. Even my wife is like, you're just sitting around. You're just sitting around and doing nothing. I'm like, no, I'm quieting this mind because I know how much pain the mind puts me in. I know how much distraction the mind causes. I know how much insecurities can sabotage what I'm creating when the mind is chatter, chatter, chatter. And so I knew better, and I started meditating a long time ago. And to be honest with you, I don't meditate a lot anymore. I've trained myself, and I've actually got to a point where I'm like, let's take this up a notch. Let's take this to the next level. Let's get even more still in your mind. But I've trained myself to a standpoint to where, most people, if they meditate, they're going to meditate 10, 20 minutes a day, just like I was doing. And then the rest of the day, it's chatter, 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 noise, 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 monkeys in the trees, monkeys in the trees. And this automation, these thoughts that are just floating in our mind are continuing. And you guys, take this to heart. When we're letting our mind run, it's continuing to program our future. And so if we're looking to create, something in business, or, write a book, or start opening up more on social media or doing whatever, we cannot really create from the chatter, from the noise. Yes, we can pull from our past. Yes, we can remember things. That's where I used to pull from. When I do a live video, it was always like, what am I saying? What did I mean to say? What do I want to say? And all this stuff. I was always pulling from the past. I was thinking about what my mentor said. And so I was actually more of a repeater than a creator. And then I got to a standpoint where I started quieting my mind more and more and more. And there's one practice that I'll share with you just in a little bit that changed the game for me, that absolutely changed the game for me. So back to the book, The Power of Now. The Power of Now brought up this powerful premise. And literally the first time I read that book, I knew my analytical mind was not grasping it, but I knew my sense, my higher sense, the higher version of myself was getting it. It was clicking. It was a beautiful thing, but I had to read that book so freaking slow because my analytical mind just couldn't grasp it. But I could sense that there was a big shift happening, and a big shift did happen for a long time. And then, like life happens, I got back into my old habits, my old patterns, and found myself in pain again. And so what I did is I read that book again. And there's not a ton of books that I've read twice. I always like new things, and I like to learn, new concepts, and I'm always looking for new ways to evolve. And there's probably been 5 books out of hundreds of books that I've read through the years that I've read twice. And The Power of Now was one of them. And in that book, it brought up the premise that absolutely changed so much for me. It brought up the premise of the thinker, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, but it also brought up the premise of the watcher. It allowed me to see that I can actually disconnect my life and my experience and my being from my thoughts. My thoughts are not my total being, my total identity. They're not even a big portion of it. But what happens is we put so much emphasis, so much power into our thoughts that we give our power away. And if you can take a step back and sit in the seat of the watcher, you no longer have to leak energy from your thoughts. Even there's time my thoughts just go, right? I'll be sitting there on a webinar or a training, or I've got a call, and sometimes my thoughts are just kind of going. And where I used to get wrapped up with them and fight against them and, try to quiet them and I, call BS on them and all that, I'm basically dancing with my mind while I'm speaking with somebody else. Now, if they're going, I don't care. I really don't care. I don't pay a lot of attention to them. I notice it. I know that there's chatter. I know that my mind's a little bit busier than sometimes, and I'm not going to wrestle with it. Because if I'm sitting there like, why, blah, 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 if I'm getting caught up in it, I'm going to pull myself out of the present moment. And it's weird. I mean, I can still be fully present. I can still connect deeply with somebody when there's a little bit of chatter. But the moments where I'm really on fire, when I'm really connecting deeply, when the words are just, flooding in, right? I'm not thinking what I want to say next. Sometimes I do, but not very often. I'm letting them come. I'm trusting. And when I'm fully present and quiet and still in my mind and still in my heart, there's wisdom. You guys, there's wisdom. And you guys have that too. But it becomes just like anything else. How do I practice this? And so I've been practicing this yet again for a long time, and I'll tell you my evolution of it. And I actually shared this on a friend's podcast today. My evolution started when I was in, it was probably, when was it? 2010. I was at my traditional ad agency, this 25-year-old ad agency I was working with. This was my first career in the field that I actually loved. And I was just excited about it, but I had to sell. I had to go out, face rejection. I had to put myself out there. I had to ask for the sale. I had to face rejection. And it was a scary thing for me. I had a lot of resistance, and I had a lot of hesitation. I had a lot of second guessing, and I had a lot of procrastination. But I would put myself in these moments. I would go talk to somebody. I would stop in on a business. I would connect, and I would ask questions. And the whole time I'm having this visceral fear response where I'm sweating, my heart's racing, I'm breathing shallow. But all along the way, I'm centering myself with a statement. And that statement back then was, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. If my thoughts are really getting a hold of me, I love myself. And it would ground me to bring me back to that present moment just for a little bit. Then I'd get to thinking again, oh, yeah, I'm sweating. I wonder if they see me sweating and all this stuff. And then I love myself. I love myself. I would continue to bring myself back to that. And then I started, just kind of shortening it up a little bit and trying different things. And now I get to a standpoint, it's a blessing to me when I have these rogue thoughts come through, because I've built myself up to have the awareness to know, one, all thoughts are BS. And two, if I have a thought that's going to pull me out of my zone, pull me out of my present moment, pull me out of connecting with somebody else, it's just an opportunity. I see that thought as an opportunity to get back in my power, to get back in my present moment right then and there. So I will actually think that thought. Thank you. Have conversations. I'll have coaching calls. In my mind, I probably say thank you dozens of times. Not always. Sometimes I'm just there. I'm solid. I'm good. Other times my mind tries to go. Sometimes thank you. It's simply a reminder. And when you can start to be the watcher of your thoughts and see your thoughts are trying to take you away because of the uncomfortableness or the vulnerability of possibly asking for the sale, or, having a deep conversation that, what does this mean? What's this going to entail? Do I have to continue to have these deep conversations? Do I have to, continue this relationship? We put so much meaning on what's this going to do for me, or what's this going to cause in a bad way, that it pulls us out of the moment. When you can bring yourself back to that moment, there's power, there's wisdom, there's pure creation. Most people are trying to create from a canvas that's been filled in over and over and over and over again. But I like to work from a blank slate. I like to work from this moment where anything and everything is possible, where my success is truly inevitable, and you can too. So I dare to say, most people put so much emphasis on their thoughts. They hear a thought, I'm not good enough, or I shouldn't do this, or I'm too fat or too slow, or I'm dumb, or it's the wildest thing. It could even be a thought that has nothing to do with them, and they see it as truth. If their mind thought it up, it means it's true. I'm like, no. It's your thoughts. It's your automation. It's your autopilot. It's your robot. It's just the past. It does not mean it's true. The only time you're living in truth is if you feel good. Because if you feel good in the present moment, you're connected with something higher than yourself. If you feel bad, if you're second guessing yourself, if you're stressed, if you're not breathing, it's not true. It's a lie. Even the word belief has the word lie in it, L-I-E. And so start to look at your thoughts, not as truth, not as reality, not as the way it is, but as BS. And I'm not here to ask you to believe anything or see that that's a key in life, but I am asking you to try it on. It's like a jacket. Once you try it on, you'll know if it fits or not. You could see it on the rack and it's like, that's a good looking jacket. It looks like my size. But until you try it on, you won't know if it's a fit. You won't know if it's for you. So I dare to say, try it on. Just start working from the premise that all of your thoughts are BS. But here's the difference. There's a difference between thoughts, chatter, monkeys in the trees. There's a difference between thoughts and thinking. Because when you're in your power and you are using your brain with intention, you're thinking, you're creating, you're using your imagination, there's power there. So if you are in your power and you are creating and you are influencing your thoughts, not just pulling from the past and not just letting the automation go, there's power there. And so the question becomes, are you intentional with your thinking? You're not intentional with your thinking, but you can be intentional with your thoughts. You can choose your thoughts. And so going back to the book, The Power of Now, there was just some exercises in there to practice really putting yourself in that watcher's seat. Start to watch your thoughts. Now, I have a mentor, Mr. Jim Fortin, who has what's known as the Master Thought Formula. His formula, I love the whole premise of it. It didn't quite work for me. It didn't work well for me. It didn't put me in the watcher seat. And he actually asked me on a hot seat one day. He was like, do you know the Master Thought Formula? And I knew one from that I kind of put together from The Power of Now. And so I recited that one and that clicked with me. And so I'll share that in a moment. And I will share the first of Jim's as well, because it's the same premise, but I feel a little bit different with mine. And so Jim's is, what is it? Sorry. All thoughts, thoughts are illusions. What's real is my ability to think. All right. So that's kind of the start of it. And so for me, I needed to identify and separate myself from my thinking. Just thinking that thoughts are illusion didn't give me the separation to be able to see my thoughts. And so I actually created my own statement, and I call it the choice thought statement, because I'm big into choice. Choice is freedom. And so what I created, and I share this with my students as well, and this is something that I talk about more in my Heart Center Selling Mastery program. And also I've got a free training coming up that I'll talk about in just a moment. But my choice focus statement says, I am not my thoughts. I am the thinker of my thoughts. Right. So right then and there, I'm distinguishing that I am in choice of my thoughts. Therefore, I choose my thoughts and I choose to focus on, and then I'll fill in the blank. If I have a launch coming up, or if we have a vacation we're going on, or if I want to think about my little man to just feel love and joy, then I'll think about the little man. I'm not my thoughts. I'm the thinker of my thoughts. Therefore, I choose my thoughts. And I choose to focus on blank. And I will actually sometimes finish by saying I choose to focus on nothing. And here's a fun little exercise for you guys. Pretend I have two sheets of paper and they intersect with each other. There's this very fine point to where they're intersecting. So it's almost like a big pencil, like a number 2 clicky pencil. The very, very, very point of the pencil, as small as that is, that's the intersection point where these papers meet. And now I can go in different directions. I can go way up high. I can go way down low, right? So I can go vertical. I can go way high. I can go way low. And it's never ending, right? I mean, this universe is endless. So I can go way, 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 way out in the clouds. And I'll bring this home for you guys. Just hang with me. I can go way out in the clouds. I can go way out in the universe. I can go, 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 go. Also, I could go deep into the earth or past the earth or the other direction. Also, there's the horizontal as well. So I could actually go way out to the left or way out to the right. And so when I'm sitting here thinking, when I'm stuck on a thought, when I'm kind of like stuck in my mind and just kind of like in this cycle, in this pattern, what I will do is I will move my attention on this scale to where my attention is way far away than where I previously was. And you cannot experience the same thoughts, the feelings, the emotions when you move your attention that far. What happens is you jump in and out, you kind of come back to this. But if you hold your attention outside of where you were, far away, whatever you were thinking about no longer has that impact on you. You can't even think about it because you've moved your attention so far away. And so that just proves that I'm not my thoughts. I don't have to focus and latch onto my thoughts. I can move my attention far away and the thoughts will dissolve. Like if I hold my attention out there long enough, I'm going to forget what I was thinking about. Try that for yourself. The next time you catch yourself in a funk, in a rut, you're thinking the same things over and over and over again. And I used to get in these with my wife sometimes. I would literally have conversations with her in my head. I don't know if you guys do this or have done this. I would even have conversations in my head about telling her that I have conversations in my head. As crazy as that sounds. And I'm like, look, let's quit talking to my wife in my head. I'm moving my attention. I'm moving it away. I have that choice to do that. But it comes down to awareness and it comes down to being in that watcher seat. It comes down to choice. And so at any given moment, you can separate yourself from the BS of your thinking and you can get back to your heart, your energy, your beingness. It takes practice. It takes doing it. And I know this could be a big, wild, crazy conversation, but these are the conversations that really move the needle. And I'm telling you, your competitive advantage as an entrepreneur, if you are an entrepreneur, is your ability to be silent. It's your ability to listen. Even when you're not in interaction with somebody, you can still listen. You can still tap into energy. You can still work from knowing. That's your competitive advantage. Because if you're thinking, if you're working from fear, doubt, scarcity, you're going to get scarce results because you're only pulling from the past. You only have this limited scope of what's truly possible for you. But when you can open up the energy and work from a more heart open place of connecting, of really wanting to impact people, really wanting to change some lives, it's an expansive place to work from. Most people get caught up in their thinking. They're going to live their entire lives stuck in their BS, stuck in their thoughts. And so no longer are we working strictly from recall. Because if we're working strictly from recall, we're simply being a repeater. We're simply repeating what we heard from our mentor and our other mentor. Maybe we're putting our own little spin on it, but we're simply being a repeater. When you can trust that the information, the knowledge, the wisdom, the experiences are here with you in this present moment and you can let go. And that's the work, you guys. There was a point in time where I would do one-to-one calls or clarity calls, breakthrough calls, whatever we want to call them. And I would be so wrapped up in looking at myself and how I looked and, even like how I was holding my face and making sure I was, just smiling sometimes and things like that. I was so wrapped up in how I looked and how I was being perceived, how I was being judged, that I was missing the whole freaking picture. I was unable to connect. I was unable to listen. I was unable to help people move. I was unable to enroll people, empower people to make an empowered decision for themselves, because I was so wrapped up in my thinking and my ego and my thoughts and my fear and my doubts. And you can stop that. And there's this quote that I love from a mentor of mine, Don Javier. It's talking about stopping the world. Stopping the world. And the quote goes, if you want to change the world, you must first change yourself. In order to change yourself, you must stop your world. And when you stop your world, you change yourself. And when you change yourself, you change the world. And the same comes true to your clients too. If you can get other people to stop their worlds, your family members, they're in autopilot, they're reactive, they're doing the same thing over and over and over again. If you can help them to stop their world, see a new perspective, open up to new possibilities of how life can be, you've changed somebody's life. But you cannot be continually to come from the same old, experiences of you being raised and you saw your parents and how they had a relationship, and you're doing the same thing that's been passed down from lineage to lineage to lineage. Let's be the ones to disrupt it. Let's be the ones to do things differently. And we have that opportunity. We have that personal power inside of us, but we must choose that for ourselves. So we must hold our attention on a place of being a creator, just like where we came from, a creator, a creative universe, a creative force, a creative God, however you want to see it. There was a creator, so we are naturally creators. We will live our lives stuck in our thoughts, paying so much emphasis on the chatter, 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 noise, 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 that we literally are robots. But we don't have to be. You can be here now. The power of now. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. And look, I don't live here, right? I get in my stuff too. I spend time in my thoughts and insecurities and doubts too. I'm human. But I have a huge emphasis on bringing myself back to the moment, and I can catch myself because I've trained myself. But two things, I've meditated. I've meditated not just to meditate and then the rest of the day be in my noise. I've meditated from a standpoint of living and being in a meditative state, carrying that state with me, and also constantly practicing. And I used to do this dozens of times per day. I would say my choice focus statement. I'm not my thoughts. My thoughts are just going. I'm not my thoughts. And that it literally, for whatever reason, that sentence stops me. Because it's like, what? I'm not my thoughts. I'm the thinker of my thoughts. Oh, so I'm actually thinking these thoughts. Okay. Therefore, I choose my thoughts. I literally can choose to focus on this light or this box over here, this camera here. I can choose my thoughts. I can choose to focus on a purple elephant or a pink cat, whatever. I choose my thoughts. So therefore, I choose to focus on love, opening my heart, being of service, connecting with people, seeing people in my mind's eye and my knowing that they're getting transformations off of working with me. And I've spent so much time there to where I can now viscerally feel it. It's truth. It's home to me. It's the new norm. Yes, I get into my thinking. Yes, I got chatter. But my new norm is more steady, is more focused, is more centered. And that's what I help people with as well. And if you are the type of person who wants to grow your business and is up to big things, you want to hold space and you want to be able to present offers in a way where people are just, moved, they're connected, they trust you, you're there, you're not kind of dying inside because the limelight's on you and your, mind's just acting up saying, we should not be here. We don't have the program all figured out yet. And we haven't changed 100,000 lives and we haven't made, $10 million. Who am I to be speaking about this? Who are you to not speak about it? Who are you to do such a disservice to hold back from the world? That's what I want to know, because the world stays stuck until you move. If I'm not moving, there's people that I've helped to move, right? If you're not moving, there's people that you are here specifically to help move. No matter what you're helping people with, it doesn't quite matter. What matters is you being in your heart. What matters is you putting yourself out there. What matters is you being present. It's all that matters. This life isn't here to be figured out. This life isn't here to be solved. This life isn't here to be completed. This life is here to be experienced. So let's experience it. You cannot experience life in your thoughts. It may literally, I have a visceral reaction in my stomach saying that. You cannot experience life. You cannot evolve when you're stuck in your future or you're stuck in your past, which yet again, like I said earlier, your future is actually just a shadow of your past because you're projecting your past onto your future. That's what you think is possible. But when you're here, when you're in your power, when you're in this moment right here and right now, the only moment that's available, the only moment there ever is and ever will be, this moment right now, that, my friend, is when you can create. That is when beautiful things transpire. In this moment. And in this moment, and in this moment, and in this moment. So where are you? Be here now. Let go of the thoughts. Let your thoughts do your thing. You know, it's going to take some time to start quieting that mind. And don't fight against it. Don't expect yourself in, 2 weeks of meditating that your mind should be still and solid. Let it go, but be in your power. You can have dual attention. You can have your heart open and being of service and putting yourself out there and standing for your values while your chatter goes. And I shared on a call today as well. I had a friend, client inside my 6-month coaching intensive who just presented his first offer for his membership. And I could tell, and I was on the call. And I could tell he had this moment, this SHIT moment. The energy got real. He shifted to the offer. He was going into it and he kind of got tripped up and almost blanked out. And I can laugh and say that is because I've had similar experiences. I literally am in a pitch sharing my offer and I'm like, I literally want to like just hit the end button and crawl under a rock. The energy was so hard to manage. But we can get better at managing energy. We can get better at disconnecting and dissolving our thoughts. And then what's left? Heart-centered creation. Pure, beautiful, expansive creation. What do you think is going to allow you to create the business and the life that you love? The thinking, the automation, the doing the same things that everybody else is doing the same things that you saw your parents do and your parents do and your mentors do, and we're just repeating and hoping it works out for us? Or are you learning and also letting go, showing up, being you, trusting that what you've learned, your experiences, you don't understand. Your subconscious catches everything. So you have everything. You have everything you need at this standpoint. But your mind will pull you out. Oh, we can actually, what if somebody asks about this? I better study this. Okay. So many times I'm getting ready to launch and there's one more thing I got to learn. I held back for so long. And it does. Weird to say it. I look back and I'm like, dang. Whew. It pains me a bit. I could have leaned in a little bit more, helped more people, shortened the learning curve. It is what it is. I'm not going to place a lot of meaning on it, but man, if I knew now what I knew back then, I would have leaned in. I would have been messy. I would have put myself out there. I would have learned as I went. I would have trusted myself. And I know I'd be in a different place. It's all good. Nothing has any meaning except for the meaning you give it. So it has no meaning. It needed to play out this way. But I'm telling you right now, you don't have to wait years and years and years and hide and, have all the insecurities and doubts and everything. You can show up, but it takes you committing. It takes you getting out of the thinking, because the thinking will pull you out every chance it gets. So find that stillness in your heart. Work from your power, your personal power, your strength, which is your heart in this moment. All good things are coming your way. All good things are coming your way. And like I said about, the client of mine, things get easier. But if we're trying to predict and control everything we're doing, we're going to be sitting back. We're going to be waiting. We're going to be trying to get ready for the longest time. I would say go now. Go now. When it comes also to communication and listening, as I said earlier, this is something that I love to talk about. I love to talk about being in your center. I love to talk about open communication, powerful communication, because it really is. If you want to grow to a new level, but you're afraid to have deep conversations, you're afraid to ask for that which you want, it's going to be a tough road ahead. Successful people are courageous enough to have these tough conversations. And selling is one of the most vulnerable things we can do in business. And that's why, yet again, I love the work that I'm doing. And we're actually doing a 3-part training series here coming up October 14th. And in that training series, we're going to go deeper into nailing your personal power, being in your center, being in your strength, collecting yourself. There's things that I do before I go live, or if I do coaching calls or sales calls. I've done sales calls for my mentors in over a year and a half's time, or just under a year and a half's time. I helped enroll on sales calls, something I used to sweat and stammer and stutter. I helped enroll over $1 million on these calls, hundreds of calls, holding space for people, helping people to make an empowered decision for themselves. And I've learned a tremendous amount about managing my energy, helping people to see what they're not seeing by using heartfelt language and persuasion patterns, which I'm also going to talk about in training number 2 in the 3-part video series. And also there's certain, very simple but powerful techniques, processes to take your performance when it comes to sales and getting more people that are in your world and connected with you, and you're building relationships to a whole new level that I'm going to disclose on this training as well. And so if you're holding back a little bit in sales, or if your business is growing a little bit here and there, but it can grow more, likely there's some resistance around selling or money, one and the same. So join me on this 3-part video series. And I'm telling you, this is going to be one series that you think about for years, because my whole premise is, how can I help more people? How can I impact people in a greater way to set them up for success? And that's what this 3-part video series is all about. So if you're interested in this at all, you can go to adamkiddoo.com/heart to begin to master the art of selling from your heart. Because if you are selling from your head, if you are being mechanical, if you're trying to predict what people need to hear so they can buy from you because you're working from scarcity and I need to sell, been there, done that, you're going to push more people away than you would ever realize. We are sensing beings. We can sense when energy's off. So yet again, even if you are growing your business, you're getting some sales here and there, and I don't need to master sales. It's one area in business that's, 1, highly overlooked, and 2, is going to make a much greater impact on everything. Because you could have the best Facebook ads and the funnel strategies and the webinar and all this stuff. But if you can't sell from a place of alignment to where you feel good, people feel good, they know that you're a force to be reckoned with, they want to work with you. If you can't hold that space for people, it's going to be a tough road ahead. So this is one area that I would love for you to master. So join me yet again. Go to adamkiddoo.com/heart to get registered for this free 3-part epic live training series. And all right, you guys. All right. This was a fun podcast for me because of the importance of navigating away, dissolving the BS from your minds. And that's only one component of personal power. Like I said, we get into more, but I'll leave it at this. The world freaking needs you. The world needs more leaders now more than ever. Not later, not in 6 months, a year, 2 more years when you're finally done getting ready to get ready and you're so sick of procrastinating and putting things off that you're just ready to freaking run up a hill backwards. Been there. Then I invite you to get serious about this work and help somebody today. I'm telling you, we can do all the fancy stuff, the fun stuff. But if you're not helping people, if you're not holding space, if you're not having deep conversations with those you're here on this planet to work with and those who are in your environment, your family, your friends, chances are you're going to look back one day and have some tough questions to answer. So let's live. Let's show up. Let's help people. The world needs us. Like I'm rallying for you guys. This is one reason I started this podcast, because it's like for the longest time, it's like, well, I can do this and I can do that. It's like, no, the world needs more leaders. So I'm putting it on myself. So I'm quiet in my mind. I'm opening my heart, and I'm not shutting up this time. Because we need you and the world needs me as well. So let's go help some people. As always, let me know how else I can help. If you haven't done so yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you took a moment to go over to iTunes, leave a rating and review, and also subscribe to the show and pass it on to a friend. If there's somebody that you know has the leader quality inside them, but they're constantly second guessing themselves and talking themselves out of it, they commit to something, then they break their commitment to something, then they get excited, oh, I'm going to do it this time, and then they don't do it this time, pass along this episode. This might be the one thing that moves the needle for them that absolutely changes the game for them. So let's go help some people. I love you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I mean this and I feel this. Thank you for listening. It means the absolute world to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hit me up on Instagram, share the podcast. Let me know what's up in your world. I love being in the trenches with people. I literally am sending direct messages all day, every day. I mean, okay, not all day, but I send a lot of direct messages because I love connecting with people. So send me a note. Tell me what you liked about the show and let's have a conversation. I'd love to connect with you. So, okay. Much love. Let me know how else I can help, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to another episode of the Adam Kiddoo podcast. If you would, take a moment to subscribe and click the bell icon so that way you get notified when future episodes air. Now, here's the thing. If you are looking for the show notes, you can find a link to those below. If you're looking for the handles of the guests that I've been interviewing, things of that nature, you'll find that here. And if there's anything else that stood out to you in the episode, or if there's anything I can do for you, please leave a comment below, or for sure message me on Instagram if you'd like, as I'm always looking to hear what's working well for you and what caught your interest about the Adam Kiddoo podcast. So, time to go, time to change the world, time to help more people. Are you ready? Let's go do this thing. The world needs more leaders. So thanks again for listening to the Adam Kiddoo podcast.